The United States just deployed a third aircraft carrier to the Middle East. The USS George H.W. Bush arrived Thursday, joining two other carrier strike groups already positioned near Iran. This is the largest U.S. naval presence in the region in more than 20 years. And it's not just for show. Multiple sources inside the Pentagon tell CNN that military planners are developing new strike plans targeting Iranian assets in the Strait of Hormuz. The targets include Iranian fast attack boats, mine-laying vessels, and other assets Iran is using to control the waterway. These plans are ready to execute the moment the current ceasefire collapses. Let's be clear about what this means. The United States has 3 aircraft carriers, dozens of advanced fighter jets, thousands of additional troops, and strike plans drawn up, all positioned near Iran. During what's supposed to be a ceasefire, this isn't preparation for peace. This is preparation for war. The third carrier, the USS George H.W. Bush, entered U.S. Central Command's area of responsibility on Thursday. It's positioned in the Indian Ocean. The other 2 carriers are already deployed. The USS Gerald R. Ford is in the Red Sea. The USS Abraham Lincoln is in the Arabian Sea, enforcing the naval blockade of Iranian ports. This is the first time the United States has had 3 carrier strike groups in the Middle East theater since the Iraq invasion in 2003, 23 years. Think about that. The last time America positioned this much naval firepower in the region, we were preparing to invade Iraq, and now it's happening again, aimed at Iran. Each carrier strike group brings massive firepower. The Bush alone carries over 70 aircraft, fighter jets, attack helicopters, electronic warfare planes, surveillance aircraft, and it's accompanied by guided missile destroyers and cruisers. Multiply that by 3. That's the strike capability now positioned within range of Iran. But here's what makes the Bush's arrival particularly significant. It carries the newest F-35 fighter jets. The Ford cannot handle F-35s. So now the United States has 2 F-35 capable carriers in the region, the Bush and the Lincoln. That's a major upgrade in precision strike capability. F-35s are stealth fighters, harder to detect, harder to shoot down, perfect for hitting targets inside defended airspace. Pentagon sources say the strike plans focus on asymmetric assets. That's military language for Iran's unconventional warfare capabilities. The small, fast attack boats that have been harassing commercial shipping, the vessels laying mines throughout the Strait of Hormuz, the coastal missile batteries, the drone launch sites. Everything Iran is using to keep the strait closed and leverage control over global oil supplies. One analyst called using carrier-based fighters to hit these targets inefficient. He's right. The Air Force already has A-10 attack jets in the region. Those are better suited for hitting small boats and coastal installations. But the carriers provide something else: sustained air superiority, the ability to launch hundreds of sorties, day after day, week after week. If this turns into a prolonged campaign to reopen the Strait of Hormuz by force, carriers provide the endurance. There's also speculation the Bush might be arriving to relieve the Ford. The Ford has been deployed since last June. That's 9 months, way past the normal 7-month carrier deployment. The Ford suffered a fire in its laundry spaces in March. It didn't launch aircraft for 2 days. It made port calls in the Mediterranean for repairs and crew rest. The ship is back on duty now, back in the Red Sea as of last week. But the crew is exhausted. Replacing it makes sense. But even if the Bush is here to relieve the Ford, that still leaves 3 carriers in the region simultaneously, for at least a few weeks, until the Ford actually leaves. And that overlap period creates a window of overwhelming strike capability. If the ceasefire collapses during that window, the United States can hit Iran harder and faster than at any point since this war began. So why now? Why deploy a third carrier during a ceasefire? Because the ceasefire is a fiction. Trump extended it indefinitely on Tuesday. No end date, no deadline. Just wait until Iran submits a proposal. But the ceasefire hasn't stopped anything. Iran seized 3 ships Wednesday. The U.S. seized another Iranian tanker Thursday. Both sides are still enforcing blockades. the Strait of Hormuz is still effectively closed. Oil is trading above $105 a barrel. The global economy is still being strangled, and Trump knows this can't continue indefinitely. Gas prices in America are over $4 a gallon. His approval rating on the war is 33%. The midterm elections are 6 months away. Every day the strait stays closed is another day of economic pain, another day of political damage. He needs a resolution. Either Iran negotiates and reopens the strait, or the United States forces it open militarily. The third carrier gives him the military option, ready to execute, immediately. Here's what that would look like. The strike plans reportedly target Iran's ability to control the strait. Small boat bases, mine-laying vessels, coastal missile sites, mobile anti-ship missile launchers, drone facilities, everything Iran uses to threaten shipping. The campaign wouldn't start with carrier strikes. It would start with Tomahawk cruise missiles, launched from destroyers and submarines, hitting fixed targets, command centers, radar installations, missile sites, taking out Iran's ability to coordinate defenses. Then the aircraft come in, F-35s first, stealth fighters hitting the most dangerous targets, surface-to-air missile batteries, advanced radar systems, clearing the path for conventional fighters, then F-18s, hitting mobile targets, small boat concentrations, transporter erector launchers, anything that moves. A-10 attack jets would handle the small boats, flying low, slow, using their cannons to destroy fast attack craft. It's what A-10s were designed for, tank killing. Boat killing is the same concept, armored targets that need to be destroyed with precision fire. Meanwhile, minesweepers would work to clear the strait, protected by destroyer escorts, naval helicopters hunting Iranian submarines. It would take weeks, maybe months. The Pentagon reportedly briefed Congress that fully clearing the mines could take up to 6 months. That's a long campaign, requiring sustained air cover, exactly what 3 carriers provide. But there's a problem. The United States is running low on certain munitions. The Wall Street Journal reported that America has used over 1,000 Tomahawk cruise missiles in this war, plus 1,500 to 2,000 critical air defense missiles. Replacing these could take more than 6 years. That matters for 2 reasons. First, it limits how long the U.S. can sustain a campaign against Iran. Second, it affects America's ability to respond to other threats, like China and Taiwan. Pentagon officials are reportedly worried that munitions shortages could compromise the U.S. ability to defend Taiwan if China attacks. So the United States is preparing for a major military campaign to force open the Strait of Hormuz, while simultaneously running low on the weapons needed to execute that campaign, and worrying about whether doing so would leave America vulnerable in the Pacific. This is the strategic bind Trump finds himself in. Iran knows this. They know the U.S. is running low on missiles. They know prolonging the conflict benefits them. The longer the strait stays closed, the higher oil prices go, the more economic pain Americans feel. The more political pressure builds on Trump to make a deal, any deal. Iran also knows the United States doesn't want a prolonged war. Trump wants this over. He wants oil flowing again. He wants gas prices down before the midterms. Iran has time. Trump doesn't. But Trump has carriers and strike plans and the willingness to use them if negotiations fail completely. That's what the third carrier represents. Not just military capability, but political will. Trump is showing Iran he's prepared to resume the war if they don't negotiate seriously. The ceasefire can end any time, and when it does, 3 carrier strike groups will be waiting. The International Energy Agency chief said Thursday that the world is facing the biggest energy security threat in history. The Strait of Hormuz carries 20% of global oil supplies, 20% of global liquefied natural gas. With the strait closed, energy markets are in crisis, oil above $105, natural gas prices spiking, inflation rising worldwide. European leaders are divided. Germany proposed gradually easing sanctions on Iran in exchange for reopening the strait. Other EU leaders rejected this. They want Iran to de-escalate first, to eliminate nuclear threats, to stop oppressing their own people. The European Union cannot agree on a unified approach. Meanwhile, Iran's government is fracturing. The president wants to negotiate. The IRGC wants to keep fighting. The new supreme leader is reportedly gravely injured and isolated, unable to exercise centralized authority. The Revolutionary Guard generals are making all the decisions, and they want the war to continue. So here's where we stand. The United States has 3 aircraft carriers near Iran, strike plans ready, munitions running low but still sufficient for a major campaign, Trump politically desperate for a resolution, Iran's military in control, refusing to negotiate, the strait still closed, oil prices climbing, and everyone waiting to see who blinks first. The 3rd carrier just arrived. The question now is whether it's here to deter war or to wage it.